Class 6th, Subject English, Topic Anak Krakatoa. Now, before we start this lesson, I want you to have a look at these pictures. What do you see in these pictures? Yes, these are different type of natural disasters such as cyclone, wildfires, tsunami, flood, earthquake, volcanoes. All these are natural disasters, and such type of disasters happens in our country or are seen in our country or in any of the other countries where it causes a great impact to the people and the landforms. A natural disaster is a major adverse event resulting from natural processes of the earth, and these are the few examples. A natural disaster can cause loss of life or damage property. So, similar to this, we are going to learn a lesson Anak Krakatoa, and we are going to learn more about volcanoes. So let's start with the lesson. Krakatoa is an island in the Sunda Strait between Java and Sumatra in Indonesia. It is known for its volcano which erupts regularly. Erupts means explodes or bursts out suddenly. So students, Krakatoa is an island. As you can see in the first picture, a map is shown where you can find where exactly Anak Krakatoa is situated. So it is between Sunda Strait, between Java and Sumatra, which is in Indonesia. And it is well known for its volcano eruptions, which erupts regularly. And in the second picture, which is before 1883, the entire island of Anak Krakatoa is shown. What is a volcano? A volcano is a crack or opening in the earth's crust. Crust means a hard outer covering of something. There is hot molten rock near the earth's center. Sometimes it rises to the surface of the earth through such a crack or opening and flows out. When this happens, we say that the volcano has erupted. Now students, first let us understand what is a volcano. Volcano is a crack or opening in the earth's crust through which lava, volcanic ashes and gases escape. You can see in the first picture where the ash cloud are high up in the sky, and in the second picture where you can also see the red hot lava coming out from the earth's crust. There is hot molten rock near earth's center, which is also known as magma. And sometimes it rises to the surface of the earth through a crack which is there in the earth's center, and it flows out. So volcano is a crack or opening, and through this crack or opening what comes out is the molten rock. This molten rock is magma, which is very hot. So you can see in the picture magma is flowing out, and when this happens we can say that the volcano has erupted. You can also see the old layers of lava, and you can also see lava coming out. So whenever it comes out from the surface of the earth, we say volcano has erupted. A volcanic eruption happens on a tremendous scale. Tremendous means very great in amount or level. Thick, Dark clouds of smoke rise high from the opening and spread in the sky. Big, glowing, burning chunks. Chunk means roughly cut lumps of rock and red hot lava are thrown out of the crack in the earth. Very hot mud and ash are also thrown out. A great volcanic eruption can change the landforms in an area. So, students, the volcanic eruption happens on a very large scale, and when it happens, the thick, dark clouds of smoke rise high and spread in the sky all over. As you can see in the first picture, dark clouds of smoke are rising and spreading in the sky. Along with all this, big burning pieces of rock and also red hot lava is thrown from the crack. So in the second picture you can see red hot lava coming out from the crack which is there in the earth. Along with the rock pieces, very hot mud and ash are thrown out with it from the center of the earth. The surface of the earth where the volcano eruption occurs. Due to all this, the lava, when it comes out after some times, it cools down and it becomes very hard, and these layers of lava eventually form mountains, and therefore whenever volcanic eruption occurs, we can see that there is great change in the landforms in that area because this lava eventually hardens and forms mountains. So this is the reason the landform becomes uneven and changes. Volcanoes are popularly classified into three categories. A. Active volcanoes. Active volcanoes erupt regularly. B. Dormant volcanoes. Dormant means temporarily inactive or in a deep sleep. We find information about the eruptions of these volcanoes in history, but now they are quiet. C. Extinct volcanoes. Geographers can guess by looking at the rock formation that they used to erupt long ago, but there is no record of it in history. An extinct volcano is unlikely to erupt again. So students, the volcanoes are classified into three different categories. The first one is the active volcanoes. Active means they are occurring now and then. An active volcano erupts regularly, and so therefore it is said to be an active volcano. Second one is dormant volcano. Dormant means inactive or not active. They are temporarily inactive or in a deep sleep. They cannot be seen every now and then, and the information of these volcanoes was there in history, but now these volcanoes are quiet, and so they are said to be as dormant volcanoes. The third one is extinct volcanoes. Extinct means not existing now. The geographers can guess by looking at rock that here there were eruptions of volcanoes or eruptions used to take place, but there is no record of it in history. These extinct volcanoes cannot erupt again and again. It is completely over, and therefore they are said to be extinct volcanoes. Krakatoa is an active volcano. It has erupted many times, causing great disasters. The worst of the eruptions took place in August 1883. The volcano erupted with such a loud boom that it was heard more than 3,500 kilometers away in Australia. It is believed to be the loudest sound that man has ever heard. The island, which was a volcanic mountain, collapsed on itself. The dust that was thrown up in the eruption rose to about 80 kilometers in the sky. It spread in the sky around the world and later settled in different parts of the world, thousands of kilometers away. So, students, Krakatoa is an active volcano which occurs often and it has erupted many times and caused great damage in August 1883. As you can see in the picture, the first and the second picture, these pictures were from August 1883 when the eruption had took place. And it had erupted with such a loud noise that it could be heard 3,500 kilometers away in Australia. It was the loudest sound that humans had ever heard, and the mountains collapsed on itself. The dust which was thrown up in the sky due to volcanic eruption rose about 80 kilometers high in the sky and spread in sky all around. So as you can see in the picture, it has rose 80 kilometers high up in the sky and spread all over the world. The dust was settled in different parts of the world, thousands of kilometers away. The eruption caused giant waves or tsunamis in the sea near the island. About 165 villages and towns were destroyed due to the eruption and the tsunamis. The eruption destroyed two-thirds of the island of Krakatoa. It collapsed. Collapsed means a fall down suddenly because of pressure or lack of strength beneath the surface of the sea, creating a huge underwater volcanic crater or hole. The hole was more than 6 kilometers wide. So, students, the volcanic eruption had also caused great damage and also caused giant waves near the island, and these waves were known as tsunamis. As you can see in the first and the second picture, the tsunami is destroying the village and the towns. And because of this tsunami, 165 villages and towns were destroyed, and due to the eruption as well. Many lives were killed and their houses were also destroyed. It had destroyed two-thirds of the island of Krakatoa. It collapsed completely beneath the surface of the sea, and it created a huge hole, and the hole was more than 6 kilometers wide. Then, in 1927, a plume of smoke, plume means a tall, thin mass of smoke, dust, or similar substance that rise up into the air, rose out of the water on the crater. It was followed by another eruption. A few days later, a new island volcano broke water. How did it happen? When the underwater volcano threw up ash and rocks, it was quickly taken away by the sea water. But then the lava started flowing out of the crater faster. This volcanic material was not all taken away by the waves, and a new mountain began to grow. It kept growing and was soon seen above the water. Thus, a new island grew from the old island of Krakatoa. It was named Anak Krakatoa, or the child of Krakatoa. So, students, now in 1927, again a thin mass of smoke rise up into the air. As you can see in the first picture, the smoke is rising up in the air out of the water on the crater or hole, which was created at Krakatoa. And then again it was followed by another eruption. After few days, a new island volcano broke water, and due to some disturbance underwater that threw up ash and rock, and this ash and rock was quickly taken away by the seawater into the sea. But the lava which was coming from it was not taken by the seawater. And this lava, since it was not taken away by the waves, a new mountain was formed. As you can see in the second picture, a new mountain has started being formed. And a new island grown out of the old island of Krakatoa. And that island was named Anak Krakatoa, which also means child of Krakatoa. Anak Krakatoa is still an active volcano. Eruptions have begun again since 1994. It lies quiet for a few days and then again there are eruptions. With more lava flowing out, the island is still growing bigger. Since 1950, the island has grown at an average rate of 5 inches per week. A part of the old island, known as Rakata, is still visible in the sea, a little away from the new arrival, Anak Krakatoa. So, students, the eruption are began again since 1994, and new mountain began to grow. More lava is flowing out from the Anak Krakatoa island, and because of the lava which is coming out, the landform is also changing. As you can see in the first picture, the island is growing bigger and bigger of an average rate of 5 inches per week. So you can see how much of eruption is occurring there, and the land is growing. Also, a part of an old island which is known as Rakata, as you can see in the second picture, which is still visible in the sea. Before Anak Krakatoa would be seen there, where another island, that is Rakata, is still visible in the sea a little away from the new arrival Anak Krakatoa. After Krakatoa's eruption in 1883, all the surrounding islands and coasts were covered with hot ash. No life remained. When a scientist visited it in 1884, he found just one spider there. But the living world on Rakata was not lost and gone forever. The wind and the sea brought seeds of plants to the island. Some seeds came with the birds who flew over the island. Plants and animals that lived in the sea came to the coasts again. Small land animals like ants, termites. Termite means a small white tropical insect which eats wood. Or even rats and lizards traveled to the island on plants floating in the sea. One edge of the island was soon teeming. Teeming means full of, with plants and animals. So, students, the surrounding island and coasts were covered with hot ashes after Krakatoa's eruption in 1883, and no animals or human beings were seen there. No one remained, and when the scientist visited in 1884, he found just one spider. So, children, as you can see in the first picture, only one spider was found when the scientist visited in 1884. The island, which could be seen from Anak Krakatoa, that is the living world of Rakata, was not lost or gone. Although these destructions had occurred, the Rakata island was not destroyed completely, as you can see in the second picture. The wind blowing and sea waves brought some seeds of plants to the island, and some seeds came along with the birds when they flew over the island. And these plants started flourishing and they started growing up there. The animals living in the sea came to the coast again. Small land animals like ants, termites, lizards, they traveled to the island on plants floating in the sea. You could see lot of animals and plants had started living there. One edge of the island was started growing with plants and animals. It was like a laboratory where scientists can see how living things slowly develop in an area. Today, scientists can observe this also in a part of Anak Krakatoa, which does not get covered with volcano ashes. The western coast of Java was greatly affected by Krakatoa's eruption. Very few human beings were left there, but the wild animals and plants in that area grew in number again. In fact, the wildlife grew naturally since there were no human beings to interfere with it. Interfere means to involve yourself in a situation when your involvement is not wanted or is not helpful. There was no one there to cut the trees or kill the animals, so this region became rich in wildlife. So, students, it was said to be the laboratory because the scientist can see how the living things grow in that particular area slowly and how they develop. Slowly, the living things started growing, such as plants and animals. As you can see in the first and the second picture, the plants started growing there and animals started living, and the life started to grow. The scientists researched how the living things can develop in such areas. Today, the scientists can also observe changes happening in the part of Anak Krakatoa. Although there are eruptions, but it doesn't get covered with ashes. So, in the western coast of Java, which was greatly affected by Krakatoa's eruption, there were very few human beings which were left behind, but the wildlife, animals, and plants in that area grew in more numbers. As you can see in the second picture, the monitor lizard, which was mainly found on Anak Krakatoa. So, students, whenever there is human interference, the animals cannot live because there is human tendency to kill the animals or to destroy their habitat, and because of that, it can put their life into danger or can disturb their living and their habitat. But since the human life was less there in the western coast of Java, the wild animals and plants in that area grew in more number, and there was no cutting down of trees or killing of animals or harming them. So, the wildlife grew naturally since there was no human interference with it. And because of this, the region became rich in wildlife. Question and answers. First one is, where did volcanic eruption take place? So children, you have to write down where exactly volcano had took place, which was the location where the volcano had took place, that you have to answer. The second one is, what did the scientist found when he visited area around Krakatoa in 1884? So children, what was the only thing which they found when they visited Krakatoa in 1884, that you have to write down and answer? Third one is, which part of Java greatly affected by Krakatoa's eruptions? So children, which part of Java was greatly affected by the eruption? You have to answer. Complete the following sentences. First one is, Krakatoa is an island in the dash. Second one is, an active volcano erupts and causes great dash. Third one is, a volcano is a crack or opening in the dash. Fourth one is, the new island which grew from the old island of Krakatoa was named dash. Fifth one is, since 1950 the island had grown at an average rate of dash. So students, you have to complete the sentence by filling in the correct answer. You can refer your English textbook for it. Show the three categories of volcanoes using the following tree diagram structure. So children, what are the three different types of volcanoes? You have to answer. And you have to write down a very short description of all three categories. You have to describe all the three types of volcanoes in short. Thank you.